So a few days ago, I rewatched Destroy All Monsters, and I have to say that it still, for me, holds up as a fan of Toho films and a fan of the classic Godzilla movies. Um, First, let me address the criticism I often hear, which is there's way too much of a focus on the human characters rather than the monster characters. Um, I I would say that argument is fair because there is a lot of scenes where you start to see monster action, you start to see monsters rampaging through Tokyo or through New York City, and then suddenly it cuts back to a bunch of soldiers planning their next attack or planning their next move against the evil aliens controlling the monsters. So it's fair if you're frustrated with the monster teases throughout the movie, but I think, for me personally, I think there's enough. There's an The monsters are shown evenly enough throughout the film that it doesn't get boring. The first act, you see them on Monster Island interacting with each other. You get a pretty cool shot of the whole island with all the creatures in their natural habitats. Then you have, towards the second act of the movie, you show a bunch of shots of monsters hitting different global cities. Gorosaurus in Paris, Mothra in Beijing, Godzilla in New York. So, and then after the monsters hold, and then when the after the aliens' control of the monsters is broken, then you have an awesome final battle with King Ghidorah and all of the other Earth monsters. So, let's comment a little bit about that final battle. The final battle between Godzilla and his allies, about 10 or 12 other creatures, versus King Ghidorah is the best final showdown of the Showa series. Perhaps of the entire Godzilla franchise, although that's a little bit of that's a tougher call to say it's the best of the whole franchise, but it's certainly the best of the series and definitely makes for a good outing for the Showa series, even if there's still 5 or 6 more Godzilla movies after Destroy All Monsters. Destroy All Monsters was actually intended to be the final film of the franchise, but after it made a lot of money, Toho went ahead and made Godzilla's Revenge and then Godzilla versus the Smog Monster and so forth. But I think it's best as a fan if you think of in your head of Destroy All Monsters as canonically the final film of that universe, because it takes place in the film. It takes place in 1999, which is about 24 to 25 years after the events of Terror of Mechagodzilla, which happened in 1975. So, from an in-canon, in-universe perspective, it is the final film of that series. I think it holds up. The miniature effects are still pretty charming. I would say more charming than realistic. There's lots of big, elaborate miniature sets that look really nice, but they're not quite as sophisticated as they were in, say, Mothra versus Godzilla, the 64 original version, or the original Godzilla from 1954. It's not the most realistic or sophisticated looking Godzilla movie, but it's definitely a very out there entertaining movie. So if you're new to the franchise, it's a good one. It's a good movie to check out. I'd encourage you to watch some of the earlier films first and then think of Destroy All Monsters as like the cap off for the Showa series. So let me know what you guys think. Have a good day, guys.